Drivers, start your engines!
This is MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. One full hour of news, interviews, and opinion about the past weekend's racing action. Brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is on.
Now, here are your hosts, Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Green flag, green flag.
Welcome into Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Joey Meyer's back in the house. Woody Kane back in the house after a soggy Bristol Motor Speedway in what turned out to be a night race after all. It was, then it wasn't, then it was again.
Wow, I'm still wet.
Yeah.
Still wet.
I was going to offer you a towel.
I was going to say my hair is soaked, but
mine too, yeah. It takes me so long to get mine ready. I hate when this happens.
That's exactly right. What an interesting weekend. Poor Bristol dealt with interesting issues with their racing surface to begin the week with, and they worked on that, which we'll talk about during that show. And then Mother Nature comes in and really throws a curveball to not only the teams and track operators, but the fans. And we easily the place holds 160,000. It's our second largest venue that we go to, second to the Brickyard. 160,000 seats are available there, and easily, without any doubt, it was 65 to 70, 85% full.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah.
On Saturday. You're agreeing with me.
I know that
Okay.
really happens,
All right.
but
Mark
facts
this
are
down.
facts.
But so we had to get rid of those people on Saturday.
Wait, get rid of them?
Well, after we canceled the race, right?
Okay.
Postponed.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
And but not only that, but we had to evacuate them 2 or 3 different times throughout the day because of the severe weather. So that's something the tracks normally don't have to deal with. Is they want to get all these people in the grandstands
And stay.
and then they have to get rid of them. And it really gets crowded underneath the bleachers and trying to stay out of the way with Mother Nature. And then we're going to race on Sunday, man. We're going to come in at 1 o'clock and put on a great day race. And some of the drivers were excited about, man, my car is going to handle better with the day race because the track's going to rubber up. And yeah, not so much. Now
That
it's
was
going
the
to
plan anyway.
now it's going to be another night race.
Yeah.
And we saw interesting drivers up front running very competitively with Kyle Busch and Brad and Joey. And then all of a sudden, old Mr. Outback shows up and he takes the race from everybody. So that was really good. Really very interesting.
Interesting you should mention that because don't forget to race into Outback Steakhouse today for a free Bloomin' Onion. That's
Free.
Bloomin' Onion because Kevin Harvick finished in the top 10. Outback Steakhouse done right. They've also got the Joey menu for kids. They've got $6.99 lunch specials, and they've got that brand new center cut sirloin that is fantastic. You look at the standings there. Kevin Harvick with the victory. He leads the points, or not the points, but he won the race there. You see, and is in prime position now in terms of momentum to heading toward the chase. I had a chance to talk with Kevin after the race. Kevin, a real hard-fought victory over 2 days. What was the key to you guys getting to the front today? Because it wasn't easy. It took a while.
Yeah, I think a fast car was definitely the key. Our car was very maneuverable. The preferred group for us was on the top, but I could make ground when I needed to on the bottom. I just couldn't be very consistent. Our car would ride really rough on the bottom of the racetrack, and it would jump sideways on entry and middle and exit, and if I didn't hit it just right. So, the race car was just really fast up top, and I think that was the key to the night.
There you go. Kevin Harvick had a really good car, but there were other good cars. It seemed like for a while the lead was not the place to be there because once somebody had it, something happened to him.
Yeah, touch on it. One of the words he used was maneuverability of his race car. That's one of the things that by adding that lower groove and working on the lower groove with a couple of different products that we utilized for the track to take rubber before the race, after the Xfinity race, and then even during the Cup race, it was taking rubber at the lower surface. It increased maneuverability. In the past, a car could go up to the high lane and get a little bit of speed, but even a faster car behind couldn't get out of their own groove to get by a slower car, even if he was leading. Kevin's car was not only fast, but he had the ability to, when he was racing people, because he started in the back, 24th, I believe, 25th,
didn't
way in the
qualify
back.
well.
He was able to maneuver his car with both lanes being available and not just put his car against the wall and go fast.
Yeah, he really did. Had a great weekend. He didn't qualify well. Rodney Childers said, we didn't think we were going to get qualifying in because of the weather, so we didn't do a mock qualifying run, and he tweeted a picture out of, like, rut-row, and then they wound up being okay with it.
Yeah, you set your strategies early that morning going in and going, okay, well, I believe there's a really good chance for it to rain, and we all did. We all thought it was going to get rained out. So then you don't waste any time converting your car from race trim over to qualifying trim. It takes time. If you feel you can prepare another 20 or 30 minutes in race trim, you take the advantage of that.
Yeah.
Well, then qualifying's there, and other teams have taken qualifying runs, and you simply don't know where your car is going to be. And the end product was he started outside the top 20 in that event, but it didn't matter. Leading up front with Kyle Busch had a problem. Joey Logano up front had a problem. Kurt Busch was up front, had a problem. Brad Keselowski was running third when they wrecked, causing a 10 or 11 car, the big one at Bristol.
You don't think about that at Bristol,
but
it
happens pretty quickly. Somebody before the race said, what's difficult here? And it's one of those things that it's just like a restrictor plate race. Usually when there's a wreck and it's up front, it collects a lot of cars. This place in Dover are very similar in the fact that, man, you're on the gas. You don't realize how fast these cars are going. They're qualifying with an average speed of over 130 miles an hour. That means they're in excess of close to 140 miles an hour when they're down the straightaway, and trying to get these cars slowed up in a matter of 7 seconds, which is what you're doing down the straightaway.
So that's like if you tell Brad, hang on, I got to take a sip of water. By the time you come back, he's gone 3 laps.
Exactly right. You know, people talk about they move the race up 5 minutes. Well, what's that going to do? Well, that's 20.
It's a lot.
That's 20 laps.
I saw that
at
tweet.
Bristol.
That's a lot.
Exactly right. So it's interesting. So the time frame, the time continuum that we have there at Bristol is interesting, because 5 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but 15 seconds laps, man, you go by in a very quick hurry.
They knock them off. I keep going back to something that Kevin said early in the season. When they practice, he said it's not necessarily about being the fastest. It's about being able to be fast the longest.
Absolutely.
And that's what they applied on Sunday.
Yeah, when you're trying to make speed, you're running around, just say 15.00 second laps. Whether you pick up a 10th and you're running 1490s or you slow down a 10th and running 1510s is really irrelevant. It's the ability to do that a long time.
To stay there.
And you'll see on the board a guy will run a 1470. It'll be blistering fast speed. And you're like, man, I can't go that fast. But then you start looking at his times, and he's 1610, 1630, 1650. And meanwhile, you're like the tortoise and the hare, and you're just chugging along there at your 16-second laps, and you're able to continually pass him because he's falling off. So it is being able to maintain that speed for a longer duration. We normally see, and I forget the exact stat, but we haven't seen a green flag sequence of pit stops at Bristol in like 10 years.
That long,
It's
really?
been a very long time.
Yeah.
I want to say 2008 is the number I heard originally.
Well, they can go, what, like 125 on fuel?
Yep, and then we don't see enough green flag activity to that long run. Really, you have a lot of long runs there.
It really was an interesting race all the way around. Another guy who had a really good day, we talked about it last week, Chris Buescher got the win at Pocono, the rain-shortened event there, and still needed to get into the top 30 in points to be able to pay that win off and make it qualify, because that's one of the parameters. You have to be top 30 in order for that win to matter. He did that with a top 5 run at Bristol on Sunday. Here's what he had to say.
I did expect to run well at Bristol. We were really fast here in the spring, and we had options here today. I think what they did with the track is not an end to everything, but it's a step in the right direction. It made a lot of fun racing today. If we can go have a couple top 5s and just keep up this momentum that we've had here the last few weeks, we'll be golden. I feel like we got some tracks that we should be really good at. Michigan, we had great speed at earlier this season. Darlington's my favorite track. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Richmond, Richmond is kind of the one we're looking at to make sure we improve from last time. But if we can improve at Richmond the amount we improved from spring Bristol to the fall, we'll be just fine.
Chris Buescher mentioned one of his favorite tracks is Darlington. The week preceding Darlington, we're going to call it STP week with all the throwbacks. STP week will be ultra clean, ultra performance, ultra protection, STP Ultra 5-in-1 fuel system cleaner. Their most advanced formula, STP in for the long haul. Looking forward to the Darlington weekend throwbacks, but we still have to get by this new L2 package at Michigan first.
Yeah, even lower downforce package going back to Michigan. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later on in the program. But STP week, all the throwback schemes we've been seeing for the past few weeks coming out are just amazing.
We have white pants.
Do you really? Do you have some?
We have white pants.
You should have worn them. You need to wear them next week in here.
I was going to wear my Speedo, but there's such a big thing with Speedos that.
First of all, ooh. Second of all, no.
Okay.
And third,
C1
and 2.
I might be wearing a Speedo right now. They can't see it.
He's not. because I wouldn't be here if he was. So be that as it may, a good week at Bristol, except for the weather. A lot to talk about coming up on the program. Justin Marks will be along. Remember, he won the road race at Mid-Ohio.
He probably wanted to be at Bristol.
He probably
with
did.
all that rain, he could have been.
They didn't have rain tires for Bristol. He's going to be back in the car, the 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing, coming up at Road America this weekend. We'll talk about that. And then Daniel Hemric will be along. He had a strong run at Bristol as well. Good in the point standings right now, but not safe because he doesn't have a win. They'll be racing at Michigan. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on the program as well. On track, off track, we'll take your Twitter questions. It's all coming up on Motorsports Monday. Stick around.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. One per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Ever wish your kid came with an instruction manual? I'm behavioral therapist James Lehman, and I'll show you how to change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation, the program that helps stop defiance, backtalking, lying, acting out in school, even problems with ADD and ADHD. There's no screaming, no fighting, no frustration. Your child will listen to you again. I guarantee it.
Change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation. Call now. 1-800-406-2945. 1-800-406-2945.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to fanvision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
you'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to fanvision.com to rent or buy yours today.
I'm Eric Jones, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
In the rain and in the darkness, it is Justin Marks who leads the field up and over the hill on turn 7 underneath the Honda bridge. Here comes Justin Marks. He looks very solid. He takes it through the right-hand turn 8, through the right-hand turn 9 for the final time. The Ohio native, Sam Hornish Jr., doing everything he can to catch Justin Marks, but unless Marks has a bobble, Hornish is not going to catch him. The distance is 10 car lengths as Justin Marks races toward the carousel.
Justin Marks driving for Chip Ganassi Racing, looking for his first win ever in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Through the carousel he comes. Now downhill into the left-hander, turn 13. Checkered flag in the air. The Mid-Ohio Challenge belongs to Justin Marks.
What a day it was at Mid-Ohio. The Catera Camaro comes home in the top spot, and the driver, Justin Marks, joins us on the guest line now. Justin, belated congratulations to you. I imagine you're still riding a high after that.
Oh, yeah, it's been a great week. Really, it's just a dream come true. I mean, I've been racing for a long time, and, you know, winning at this level in the sport, just been a dream of mine since a young age. You know, the race just went perfectly for us. The Catera Chevrolet was fast, and just still sort of on a high. It's been a great week and a half.
You know, looking back over your statistics as a driver, you've run well over 5 or 6 different series and been successful in all of them. But in the Xfinity Series, it's an unusual time because we normally don't race in the rain. Do you just like racing in the rain, or is there something you enjoy? Is it a technique, or how does it work out for you?
Well, I do enjoy it. It's really a lot of fun. It's a very unique challenge, and I think one of the things that sort of gives me a little bit of an edge over some of these guys is just that I've got a fair amount of experience doing it, just because I raced in IMSA for Porsche and for BMW a number of years, and we always raced in the rain. So yeah, I mean, I've got 10 or 12 rain races under my belt, and was able to be teammates with some guys who are really, really good racers in the rain that I was able to learn from. So it just plays right into my wheelhouse. That race played right into my wheelhouse, and I knew we'd be good in the rain. I think we were probably a little bit better than I thought we were going to be. And then, when those clouds darkened with about 15 or 20 laps to go, whatever it was, and started raining again, I just knew it was going to be our day.
Man, and that was just a huge week for you all the way around, because you had just become a father right before that as well. Then you go to Victory Lane. You were just overwhelmed with emotion in Victory Lane. That had to be something you'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's getting emotional like that sort of caught me off guard, to be honest with you. I just had a lot of adrenaline going, and had just been battling for 3 hours. And as soon as I just thought about my family and the fact that this was basically one of the first races of the year that they weren't at, it just kind of just got emotional for me. But yeah, it's an incredible week. My wife Erin and I had our second daughter Presley about a week before that Mid-Ohio race, and it was a tough deal leaving them, but I got some pictures of all of them watching the race from the living room, and that was pretty cool. They were certainly with me in spirit.
You were probably suffering from lack of sleep then too, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I wasn't really holding up my end of the bargain because I slept 2 really good nights before the race when I was in Ohio, and I know that my wife wasn't quite that way, but yeah, I mean, it's just, it's part of being a new parent. It's just it's a trip, man. It's really a lot of fun. I got a great little family, and gonna leave them again here in a couple of days, and hopefully can win another one. But we all try so hard, we work so hard in our careers to be as successful as we can be, and we have successful days, and we make great memories, and we have rewards for all that hard work. But it just doesn't come close to the family, and being able to raise a family and have children. And I'm actually at the water park right now with our oldest, just kind of getting the last little summer day in before school starts. And it's just being a family, being a father, being a family man. That's the greatest honor of all of it.
We have a lot of followers that follow the 3 major NASCAR series. You're currently involved in the Xfinity Series, and one of the things we don't do on a regular basis, and we were always told we should be doing more of it, and that's racing in the rain. But it's not simply a matter of putting a windshield wiper on, bolting on Goodyear treaded tires. Talk to us about some of the challenges you have as a driver with the experience level you have moving forward when it rains, without giving a trade secret away. Just give us some thought process of a preparation that goes into a race for a car to prepare to run in the rain.
Well, it's kind of a dynamic environment because it's always changing. You don't really know what kind of conditions you're going to get. The variability in the track, if it's pouring, if it's sprinkling, if it's sort of drying out or just getting wet, those are huge swings in conditions for these drivers and for these teams. So, you can certainly put a rain setup in it. I mean, to go fast in the rain, you just don't want a car that's really aggressive and stiff, and you're throwing a lot of load on any corners, like under braking or acceleration or hard cornering. And so to kind of, lessen that load a little bit, you try to make them as soft as possible. So think about, a big old 30-year-old Cadillac, right, with a bunch of big body roll in it, and it's slow. That's what makes it go fast in the rain. So, but I mean, it's a compromise. Like, we didn't want to do that for Mid-Ohio and then have a track dry out, because all the guys that keep somewhat of a dry setup on their cars will obviously be a lot faster. So it's a bit of a compromise. I mean, besides putting the tires on and windshield wipers and making sure that your defog and everything is working appropriately in the car, I mean, those are just things to keep visibility up. It's really just about managing the race. I mean, I think in those situations, whether you've got a rain setup on it or a dry setup on it, I think what makes the biggest difference is just managing the race, not taking, unnecessary risks, hitting at the right time, and just really putting a complete race together. You saw how difficult it was for all these guys to keep their cars on the track. I had an off-track excursion once myself.
Yeah,
so,
I think like 4 different leaders ran off the track.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did it. Darrell did it right in front of me. Hornish did it. I mean, it's just tough conditions, and so you have to run. You can't just run all out everything you got, or you'll have a long day. So it's a compromise, but it's a lot of fun.
Let's look ahead. You mentioned coming up at Road America, you'll be back in the 42 this week for Chip Ganassi Racing. That's just a giant, giant road course. The differences, rain aside, the differences you face at Road America versus a Mid-Ohio.
Road America is one of my favorite tracks in the country, and you're right. It is almost a polar opposite of Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio is a very technical track. It's a slower track, a lot of right, left. So the technicality of driving. You have to be much more precise to go fast there. I think Road America, is a track where your car setup, forward drive, good brakes, make a lot of difference, because it's a 4-mile track and there's 4 long straightaways on it. One of the things that's great about Road America is that you can pass there. Mid-Ohio really only has about 2 passing zones, but Road America there's like 6 or 7 places on that racetrack that you can pass. So the races are always really good. And it's just an enjoyable place to go. The fans are really passionate. It's a great part of the country up there. I've got a lot of experience there. I love racing there. It's a narrow track. It's fast. But it's a lot of fun.
They got great food at that track too, man. That's
They do.
really cool.
They absolutely do.
All right, well, I have to ask, you just talked about all the preparation going in. Do you want it to rain?
Well, I've been asked that question a number of times the last couple of weeks. I mean, obviously that's where our advantage is. I mean, I think we have a little bit of work to do to get the Catera Chevrolet to be a little bit faster in the dry weather. I think I needed, I lost my advantage at Mid-Ohio, and I think we need to find 2 or 3 tenths to get us really in the hunt to win it. So, I'll certainly welcome the rain, but I'm not gonna bet on it, and I'm not going to prepare as though it's going to rain and we're going to do the same thing again, because you just can't control the weather. So, if it rains, obviously that'll be good for us, but we're going to show up, we're going to show up working really, really hard to get the car working really well in the dry, and if we do that, then we'll have an opportunity to win no matter what the conditions are.
Chatting with Justin Marks, the driver of the Catera Camaro. He was the winner at Mid-Ohio. Kyle Larson was in the car at Bristol. Justin will be back in this weekend at Road America. Tell us the challenges you face of being in the car, out of the car, in the car, not just for you and the crew, to getting used to one guy and then suddenly another guy comes in.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to consistently be in the car every week is tough, especially for someone like me that hasn't driven on ovals in a number of years. So, it's hard for me. I guess where it really shows up is that first practice. If I haven't been in the car in a few weeks or in a month or something like that, it's just, getting used to feeling the load in the corner and kind of relearning how to drive the track and everything really sort of takes precedent in that first practice. So we end up spending less time working on the race car itself. But, it's Mike Shiplett does a great job, my crew chief, managing the situation. He's had drivers, he's got experience having multiple drivers in a car in a year. And he knows really well, how to communicate differently with me than with Kyle, and sort of the plan and the strategy over the course of a whole race weekend is different between the two of us. But, I have to be much more methodical and much more prepared when I get to the racetrack, I think, than Kyle does, because he's just getting so much seat time racing every single week. He's been to all these tracks a number of times now. So, I mean, I just have to stick to a real structure of when I'm going to learn the track, when we're going to put new tires on in practice and feel that, and sort of how we're going to tune on the car. And then it's just a lot of time in the simulator and watching race tape and all that stuff. So, it just comes down to preparation. The guys bring a really, really well-prepared car to the racetrack every weekend. And 17 races isn't 36, but it's a whole lot better than 0. So I'm just doing the best job that I can.
Yeah, so first of all, Plymouth, Wisconsin weather is only calling for 10% rain Friday and Saturday.
All right.
So we have that. We talk about you're not in the car full time. We know your very next race is Road America. What's after that for Justin Marks?
I've got 4 more races this year, and I'm excited about these because they're all at tracks I've already been to this year. So, I mean, just like I just said, it will cut down some of that acclimation, I guess, when I get to the racetrack. So I'm going to Dover, Richmond, Kentucky, and Phoenix. All places I felt like we had pretty decent runs at this year, and we're just trying to build on that. I mean, I'd like to be able to get this thing in the top 10 on an oval track this year. I think it's certainly in the cards. But it's just going to take good dedicated weekends and hard work. And, I know the car will be fast, so just kind of continue the process.
All right, now we talked a little bit about the racing. We talked a little bit about being a new dad, but besides that, you've got another hat as well as running a business. Tell the folks about the GoPro Motorplex here in the Mooresville area, because it has become wildly popular in the racing community. A lot of the guys, there's a lot of buzz around what you guys have going on out there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, we started talking about this project a couple of years ago, and we broke ground on it in 2012, and it's really been embraced by the racing community. I think just about every race team and every driver has had events out there, and it's great because I moved to North Carolina really to try to forge my name in the sport driving, and working so hard on these businesses outside of the race car has given me an opportunity to have some brand equity in town and be able to, really contribute something of value to the industry. I've gotten a lot of, wonderful relationships out of it. And it's really, I look at the K&N team that I've got with Harry Scott and the sprint car team that Kyle and I have. I mean, that's all sort of a result of the GoPro Motorplex and the relationship that I formed from that place. So, it's a great source of pride in my life and something, that I'm very passionate about. The team there does a great job, and the business is doing great. People enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, it's great. It provides some contrast in my life, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Where can folks find out more? You got a website, Facebook page, all that about the Motorplex?
Yeah, so it's GoProMotorplex.com, and then we've got a number of businesses out there in the karting industry, and they're all parts of a company I own called Dry Lake Group. So it's DryLakeGroup.com, and you can read about the race teams and the go-kart businesses and the racetrack and all that stuff. And GoPro Motorplex is on Twitter and Facebook and everything too. And we're always, we've got great partners in GoPro, so we're always pushing out really great content weekly, and it's a good follow. And I encourage everybody, if they're in town, to come check it out and drive these cars and have some fun.
Fantastic. It'll be really cool. Well, Justin, congratulations on the win and all the success with the GoPro Motorplex, and we look forward to catching up with you at Road America. I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Good job, man. Congrats.
Justin Marks. And by the way, interesting story. After he won that race, I don't know if we talked about this after he won or not, all these people jumped on Twitter to congratulate him, and there's another Justin Marks.
Yep.
His is Justin Marks DG, but there's another one, and this guy's suddenly his phone's blowing up, and he's getting congratulated from all over the country, and he has no idea what's going on.
So 2 stories about GoPro Motorplex, because a lot of the Cup guys that did well at Watkins Glen credit it to their time being able to run the road course at GoPro.
Yeah, and this is not like an oval at Myrtle Beach or something.
Then the other guys that ran the rain race at Mid-Ohio got out and said it's because what they do is they give a discounted rate to go and race in the rain. So a lot of the guys go over. Ryan Blaney, to name one, who was he credited a lot of his success with learning the patience, the different mentality, and the different line that you take under racing conditions, because they race there in the dry, and then they have to negotiate the same facility in the wet, and being able to transfer that directly to the rain races, what they were doing, all because of the go-kart track here in Mooresville. So that's pretty cool.
Really good deal. Check it out. Justin Marks got a lot going on. New dad, race winner, and entrepreneur all in the same time. We're going to take another break here. On Track, Off Track is coming up, but you heard Justin talking about Road America. We also asked another Justin about it, Justin Allgaier, about racing at that road course coming up this weekend.
Road America is by far one of my favorite racetracks of all time. Such a cool place. The fans there are like nowhere else. Really, all of our road courses this year, the fans have been amazing. We kind of pride ourselves on being an oval series, but at the same time, I feel like the road courses this year have brought out the most fans, and they've really been gracious to us, and in us coming to the 2 that we've already been to, and I know Road America will be no different. But beautiful facility, beautiful area of the country, fun racetrack, and I think for me, having 4 miles to be able to work on things, you got a lot of things to remember when you get back to the garage to tell your crew chief, but at the same time, definitely one of those places that you feel like you can go out there and do a lot in the amount of 1 lap. So it's definitely a cool place.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
NASCAR races are all about world-class, high-performance vehicles, and that's not just limited to the race cars. Freightliner Cascadia haulers transport the race cars and equipment from track to track 38 weekends of the year, keeping your favorite drivers in the race season after season. And from the engine to the seats to the dash, Freightliner specifically engineers its vehicles to give truck drivers a reliable, comfortable ride. Learn more about Freightliner truck models at FreightlinerTrucks.com.
It's all over. At Martinsville, Virginia, Richard Petty has pulled it off.
Throwback Thursday. Classic MRN race broadcasts on MRN.com.
Waltrip will win the track race to turn 3. Earnhardt gets him. Hard into the wall goes Waltrip. Hard goes Earnhardt. Everybody else spins either way.
Out of the number 4 corner down to the line. Neil Bonnet is going to win. The Northwestern Bank 400. He'll beat Waltrip a 2-car length.
What a finish here at North Wilkesboro.
Throwback Thursday. Thursdays at 1 Eastern on MRN.com.
I'm Matt Kenseth, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
How about that? Matt Kenseth, he
How
didn't
about
have the
Matty?
greatest of days at Bristol, got sideways, and next thing you know, he got hit.
Some of the Gibbs cars had issues, but they didn't have performance issues, and that's the thing. When you leave Bristol and you're walking out and you walk across the 30-degree banking across the back of the track, you try to walk away with something good, and every one of those cars had good performance.
Yeah, they did, and that's something that they've been able to say pretty much all year long. The Gibbs cars have been fast almost everywhere we've been, but suddenly the Chevy camp has heard from with Kevin Harvick getting the win at Bristol. You guys have been good. Brad Keselowski has 4 wins, and so I think this chase is shaping up to be something pretty special.
Yeah, mine was a segue, though.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
All right.
Because coming up next, what segment is this?
It is on track, off track.
Yep.
And that's the point of the show where we talk about some things that are going well and some things that maybe aren't going quite so well in the world of motorsports. So what is going well in Joey's world?
All right, on track. Years and years ago, when NASCAR racing started, manufacturers got heavily involved. And as you can see from this picture here, for those watching on YouTube, that is one of the prettiest cars we've ever seen.
Superbird.
The reason that car was built was NASCAR had a requirement to say if you're going to run one of these cars, they had to mass produce them for the general public could build them.
Mm-hmm.
They had put a fin on the back, but the deck lid wouldn't raise up for a trunk, so they had to keep raising it. And that height of the deck lid, or the height of the spoiler, is so the deck lid can be raised because it's a street car.
It is.
So that's how long manufacturers have been involved. Then over a period of time, manufacturers were giving race teams money. We were spending it how we wanted to, and that's how manufacturers were involved.
Like adding a pool or something like that,
yeah,
you mean?
Yeah. Now Toyota has raised the bar, and they're not building street cars that we're running on the racetrack, but they are highly in tune and involved with manufacturing of Cup cars.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen the performance in both the Cup, the Xfinity, and the Truck Series raised to a new bar. We have rookies that are doing fantastic in the Truck Series. We have them winning races.
William Byron, the rookies, won 5.
Absolutely, and they're all running well. So my segue was the Gibbs cars are running very well. The manufacturer is now back directly involved with manufacturing, helping their race teams manufacture. So that's my on track. They've done a very, very good job of being involved other than just giving money.
Yeah, I think it's cool that they have gone back, particularly in the Xfinity Series, but at the Cup level somewhat as well, to make the cars look more like what's on the street, and that's advantageous to the old saying, win on Sunday, sell on Monday, and that's what we're seeing there with the way the cars are looking now, particularly in the Xfinity Series, as I said. But one of the things that also is interesting that folks might not be as aware of, a lot of the technology that goes on with those cars makes its way to the street. The race cars are the proving ground for things that they then take to the street and will show up in your street car.
Yeah, absolutely. We go to a lot of car shows, and they're prototype-style cars that start from the racetrack and work their way to the showroom. It's all about giving a fan what they want to visually, aesthetically, performance-wise. Those start at a racetrack. Maybe not necessarily a NASCAR-style track. You heard Justin Marks talk about another series at IMSA. Those are almost virtual street cars converted to race cars for safety reasons. They add cages and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And we see that direction as well. But Toyota's involvement with the sport, directly being involved with teams, man, good job for those guys. Their efforts are being shown on the racetrack in all 3 series.
They certainly are. All right, on track for me is going to be, what was that stuff that they put on the track at Bristol? You heard VHT, you heard resin, you heard rosin. There was a whole debate about which one to call it. Any way you classify it, it worked. We were able to see 2 grooves of racing. We saw some guys stay on the bottom all day. We saw some guys stay on the top all day. A leader with maneuverability, as you mentioned earlier, could pick his lane and could get by guys that were slower than him without having to wreck them or put them in the wall. There was a lot of conversation after the race with Kevin Harvick, who said, yeah, I really think we're onto something here, and maybe some other tracks should look at it. The substances that were used right now apparently apply more to concrete tracks than they do to asphalt tracks. But do you think we might see more of this down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. Just the simple fact that Bristol Motor Speedway was one of the first tracks to actually attack a known issue with being a one groove or lack of multi-groove ability. Next week we see Michigan. They're actually working on that facility by dragging tires. And there's still plenty of seats available by Michigan by going to michigan.com. That's mispeedway.com. Plenty of tickets still available in the Truck Series for Saturday's Career for Veterans 200 and the Sprint Cup Pure Michigan 400. Those guys are taking the opportunity to drag a tire machine with the tires that we're going to run to put down a higher groove to get that track to being as wide as it used to be. So kudos to Bristol Motor Speedway.
Wait, Michigan? Michigan? Is that where you're going? That's fantastic. I didn't even think you could get there. That's excellent.
I'm just going to hold my Joey.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Stop that. By the way, folks, this weekend we do have a lot of racing for you here on the Motor Racing Network. Joey mentioned from Michigan, Careers for Veterans 200 in the Camping World Truck Series. That starts at 12:30 Eastern on Saturday. Then the Road America 180 fired up by Johnsonville in the Xfinity Series from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That's 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. And then the Pure Michigan 400 comes up Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Check all those out right here on the Motor Racing Network. Now,
and you can get tickets still.
You still can. MISpeedway.com. Check it out.
Tickets.
And they really, that's one of the places that really gets the fan experience,
Yes.
because before it became such a wave, they were one of the tracks that realized early on, you know what? People expect a good Wi-Fi connectivity experience at the track, and they put a lot of work and effort into making sure that you can use your phones there, you can have connectivity, you can send pictures to your buddies and go, look where I am, I'm having a good time. They really get it out there.
When they redid the top of the suites and they built a new spotter stand, Sammy and the guys.
It all gets back to you, doesn't it?
Exactly. Well, but they actually came to us and said, how can we do this better? We have to build one.
Yeah.
We don't want to put outhouses up here and have you guys stand on wooden benches with splinters in your butts. We're going to give you a nice spotter stand. What do you need? It's literally one of the premier spotter stands in the industry for us.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Now let's talk about some things that maybe aren't going quite so well in our off-track segment.
Absolutely.
For you, what do you got?
Absolutely. So on track was how great Toyota's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means the other two manufacturers, the new bar has been set by Ford Toyota. So Chevrolet and Ford, you guys need to step up to the game, because right now, all three series, even though Kevin Harvick won, and I get it, we're competing at a high level in the Cup Series, we need more involvement from the other two manufacturers. It's simply not a matter of giving money to race teams anymore. We need the technology that's generated from a large corporation like Chevrolet and Ford to step up their game, and I know they are. They're involved.
What specifically are they? I mean, because all the manufacturers are heavily involved.
They're heavily involved
with all the teams. It just seems like it's clicking maybe right now for Toyota in a way that it is not for the other two.
Absolutely. Well, I'm 100% agreeing with you. But Toyota's involvement, but Toyota's involvement is directly with the assembly and manufacturing of the race cars at the facility of Gibbs Racing or KBM in the trucks, or that technology is directly coming from and working with. It's just a better relationship. We have great relationships with Ford, and those Chevrolet teams have great relationships. Toyota has stepped up their game and just has a better relationship between the manufacturer and the Gibbs Racing assembly.
It seems like this is cyclical. Next
Absolutely.
month, next week, next year, it could be Ford. The week after that, the year after that, it could be Chevrolet.
Yeah, right now Toyota's at the game, and I'm just saying, we just need to be able to pick up with Ford and Chevrolet to raise that bar even higher. It's Toyota's job to raise the bar. They did their job. It's now Ford and Chevrolet to acknowledge it and raise the bar again, and we keep getting on top.
Watch this.
Exactly right.
Here we go.
Yep.
All right, off track for me is it's got to be the weather. This soul-crushing rain that we've seen. Here's some of mine this year. The All-Star race rained out. Both Pocono races rained out, and the dark cloud it's following me wherever I go. Mid-Ohio, I was a drowned rat, and now Bristol. What am I doing wrong?
There's some places in the country that would appreciate the amount of water that we've seen this year, without a doubt.
Just schedule a NASCAR race. You'll get some rain.
Exactly right. But we saw the unprecedented, the IndyCar series in Pocono right now. One of the things that Pocono set a record for this year was having both races delayed by a day because of rain. Now they're on 3 races in a row.
With IndyCar.
IndyCar. So both NASCAR races and the IndyCar series at Pocono were delayed by rain, and that had been unprecedented twice. Now it's 3 times.
Speaking of that, I was impressed with how quickly they were able to get the track to ride at Bristol, 18 times over the course of 5 days when you start with the truck race on Wednesday. The track, I know, is very banked. They've done some work there with the drainage and then having the air tightens there. They really did a great job of getting the water off the track.
Yeah, from a technologically standpoint, you see, again, Toyota has gotten involved with the air titans. Chevrolet has gotten involved with the manufacturing of the actual machine that blows the hot air out as well. So you have those facilities that are utilizing the air titans and then finishing up with the dryers. And we can get that track dry from soaking wet, gushing through the garages to being able to be on the racetrack in 45 minutes.
And that's amazing. That's certainly something that you don't see every day. All right, there's on track, off track. If you have some suggestions, play along with us at MRN Radio. Mine is at WY Kane. His is at 2Spotter, the number 2. Use that hashtag AskMRN so we can find your question along the way. All right, You mentioned Michigan. We talked about that dragging the tires. We were asking a bunch of guys this weekend about going back to Michigan with the even lower downforce package. Here's what Jimmy Johnson had to say.
From my standpoint, the first Michigan with a lower downforce, it was still Michigan. It still raced the same. It was still tough to pass. And it's been that way ever since we've resurfaced the racetrack. So I don't put a lot of weight in the package is the culprit there. I'm going back a second time with it. Hopefully, we refine our cars and we can race a little bit better. But, again, if I had a perfect world, we could have started the 17 process early in the year, pick some tracks that are more common on the schedule and get a better feel for it. But it's just not the situation we have.
All right, there's Jimmy Johnson talking about what we're going to be facing.
Yeah, it's a new L2. We coined the phrase right here. It's the lower downforce package. Tiny spoiler. Speeds are flying down the straightaway, but we got to stop in the center to get these cars to turn and go the other direction. So the difference in speed is what the drivers were looking for. It's going to be fast action. We're going to see trucks and cup cars. Plenty of tickets available. mispeedway.com. Go get you some. Weather's going to be good. I promise. I have no idea.
You promise?
Well,
okay, all right.
If it was up to me, it'd be good.
All right, I don't want to hear any more about the My Math thing, #MyMath. All right, we got to take another time out because the trucks are going to be running at Michigan as well. Coming up on the other side of the break, Daniel Hemric will join us to tell us what we can expect.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits. And a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. One per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Are you in the concrete, construction, or waste industry? Are repair bills starting to pile up as your current mixer, dump, or waste truck starts to show its age? Before you make that plunge, consider an alternative to buying new. The Housby 2G second generation program is the complete refurbishment of your existing used trucks without the hefty price tag that comes with it. Extend the life of your current trucks today and give yourself an economic alternative to that new truck price. For more information, visit Housby.com. Housby, an official sponsor of NASCAR for over 40 years.
I'm Brad Keselowski, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane. Joey Meyer, the only person I know that talks more than Woody Kane.
Wow,
Yeah.
Did you tell him to say that?
Yeah. The most enthusiastic throwback we have.
Yeah, he's right there. He's got that going
absolutely.
for him. All right, speaking of Brad Keselowski, one of the guys who drives one of his trucks is joining us on the guest line now. Daniel Hemric, coming off a nice night at Bristol Motor Speedway on Wednesday. That seems like a long time ago now with a third-place run. Daniel, welcome back to the program, man. Congratulations on a solid run, and you guys really had to battle some things because you started a little bit further back, but at the end you were right there in the mix.
Yeah, hey guys, I appreciate you having me on again. It was definitely an uphill climb all night, but nobody ever gave up. I tell you what, we put our heads down from the time practice started, me putting us in a hole, having to roll it back up out, and trying to make that thing as best we could. And definitely got our Blue Gate bank Ford F-150 where at least where we could make some moves there at the end of the race, line up in the right lane, which was key, and able to salvage a good finish and put somewhat of an exclamation on what started out as a terrible day and make it a decent one.
Yeah, so you get on the track right away in your primary truck, and we spin out and back her into the wall and shorten the car up a little bit. Once you hop into your backup truck, how much at 100% do you take off from because you know you don't have a backup truck to go to?
Yeah, it's definitely puts you a little bit more on pins and needles, but as I say, as being a race car driver, you got to have a short memory.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's our job to get the most out of our situation. And ultimately, the grip level didn't hang on with me there the very first lap, but it is in the back of your mind. So at least until we could get the other truck somewhat prepared until, know if something did happen to it. Now what was our primary, we'd have something else to go to. But at the end of the day, we were able to, like I said, erase it from our minds pretty quickly, focus on the task at hand, and that was making our truck that now that we had to use the best we could in the short amount of time that we had to use it.
He lost gription, is what he did.
That's a made-up word. That's a made-up word.
But it's what happened.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that much. Speaking of gription, Daniel, if I can go there with you, we've been talking an awful lot about what the track did in terms of trying to make the lower groove come in, the substance they put down there. How did it feel for you guys, and is it something that you think might work elsewhere?
It was very interesting for us because the first practice, it was almost just eliminated. You couldn't even use the bottom of the racetrack. And then with everything that was going on at the top of the racetrack, you had to pretty much be in the middle. And then halfway through the second practice, it was literally, I think my teammate Tyler Reddick was the first one to go down there, and it was like a light switch. If you weren't down there, you were half a second off. And that's literally, no exaggeration, half a second. So it's wild to see a half-mile racetrack pick up that much speed. Obviously, due to what NASCAR did to the bottom lanes and whatnot, was the character of that, but were the cause of that. But as the race started, having the rain on and off and whatnot, I'm not really sure what was going to happen or how, if it would hold water, if it wouldn't. And I feel like it showed its hand pretty quickly. You had to be down the bottom. And, I feel like from the fans' point of view, everybody's a little biased after the truck race. Like, we're not sure if it took away the top or what just happened. I was very adamant to say that I just didn't think our race was long enough to let it really unfold. I think that showed throughout the weekend, throughout the Xfinity race and throughout the Cup race, how versatile you could be moving around. You could use the bottom to complete a path, but, the momentum was up top. And I think NASCAR, I really applaud them. That was a huge step in the right direction, in my opinion, and something that we may be able to use moving forward to other racetracks where we feel there's one dominant location to be at on the racetrack. And as a driver, you just want to have options, and I feel like we had that this past weekend.
Yeah, finishing top three seems at the end of the night like it's a good run, but personally being involved with the event, I know it wasn't that easy. We actually had a struggle for most of the evening. What problems did your truck have versus the changes of the track, and do you think one affected the other?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first truck starting off there, you start in your primary because that's the best speed you can bring to the racetrack, and me shortening the first one up and going the one we really lacked a little bit of our front turn we needed to really be on the gas enough to make a fast lap. And we constantly went the right direction and made it better all night, but still never really got the front turn where we needed to be, center and exit, and ultimately just hindered you from making moves at Bristol. And I found for myself personally, I had to be literally dragging the left side of the split on the apron to be able to make gains. And if I missed by less than an inch, I mean, it translated to 2 feet up the racetrack. And just really fault that. The Chad Kendrick and the guys that made really great calls, pit strategy, adjustments on the truck to get us in position there at the end of the race. And, and yourself as well, just playing the bottom lane game. You had to be on the bottom there on the restarts, especially with our situation of lacking the front turn that we had. And, we were able to fire off for 4 or 5 laps there at speed, and that's what it came down to, was having good short run speed, and luckily we had that when it counted.
Let's look ahead a little bit. You mentioned the big picture there. You guys are second in the standings right now, but it's getting down to it in terms of chase positioning. And with as many different guys as have won, including Ben Kennedy at Bristol, that takes another spot away from somebody to lock themselves into the chase. How secure do you feel right now?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to feel secure at all until you can definitely lock in and move on to Loudon. But I promise you, it's not taking any focus away from our guys. We know we're not where we need to be at. We got to, on my end, I got to make better decisions, put ourselves in better situations, and we got to keep bringing more and more speed to the racetrack to even be a serious contender to this championship. And I feel like we've made strides in that throughout the entire year. So you can't dwell on the fact that there's another winner. Takes like one more spot. You got to earn your keep in order to say that you're a serious contender. And even with everything that happened, all the variables we had this past weekend, bouncing back like we did, that shows strength as a serious contender. So we can keep making our forwards a little better. I think we'll be fine. We just got to keep doing our part and making the most and maximizing every weekend.
One of the things we do in NASCAR is we go fast and turn left. It's the cliche statement of the year. But interestingly enough, you have a dirt track race intermixed with all of our 1.5 mile trials tracks, but we also have a road course coming up. As a team, those guys are in the shop and wind tunnels preparing for all these 1.5 miles and the dirt tracks and stuff. But as a driver, you can prepare for road course racing. What are some of the things you do?
Yeah, so as a driver, it's definitely, especially in truck series, not something we get to do a lot of, and something I personally haven't done a lot of, growing up, is road course racing. So before the race, it's really going back over notes from last year after doing it once. And last year it was kind of going into a blind because didn't know the racetrack, and until you're actually on it, it's tough to really prepare a whole lot. But now knowing what I'm getting myself into, being able to lean on notes that Brad Keselowski Racing has, and Austin Cindric, he announced earlier, last week that he'll be in our third BKR truck. He's been there a substantial amount of time. So going off of him as far as, what curbs have grip, how much curbing can you use in certain parts of the racetrack. And myself and Tyler Reddick both are being involved with some Ford simulation stuff and being able to make some laps there. That is huge because it seems like every time you go to a road course, it is definitely kind of like starting over, just the fact of you are doing something you only do once a year. And anybody that takes that much time off doing anything, there's always a bit of a lapse there. So I'm excited to know how much preparation we're putting into our road course program. I know as drivers, myself, Tyler, and Austin, we've done everything we can. I feel like we can continue to do that to get better at those places, and I'm really pumped up to get to Canada.
All right, before that, though, you got to go to Michigan, a giant track. Speeds are going to be way up there. You've had Blue Gate Bank on the truck for a couple of races now. Who's going to be with you at Michigan, and what do you think about racing there at that high-speed track?
I love Michigan. Obviously, it's a big deal for our entire race team, and we'll have Reese Brands and Draw Tight. A lot of our longtime supporting partners are Brad Keselowski Racing on our truck, and it's a big weekend for us. Obviously being so close there to Detroit, and Seco Performance Products is our mother company. They're there. We get to spend a lot of time with those guys earlier. We're actually going up there a little early to do some luncheons and whatnot with those folks, and we're going to have thousands of people and fans and stuff, employees in the grandstands from Career for Veterans, and just as an atmosphere, it's definitely one of our biggest races. It's something we've circled on the calendar, and it's kind of funny. I look back at January this year, and time's gone by so fast, but we had our yearly meeting there with Brad, and we were talking about Daytona and how important that was and whatnot. And, the next step was Michigan. This is the race that we've been building for, so I'm excited to see how fast our F-150s are once we get there, and I know Tyler and I are definitely going to lean on each other to make the most of our situation, this coming weekend, but really excited to see all of our fans and supporters there sitting in the stands cheering us on.
One of the more famous racing couples is Ricky Stenhouse and Danica Patrick.
Well, what about me and you?
We don't race together.
Okay, yeah,
we don't
right.
race
right.
together.
We just talk together.
That's exactly. But they get to utilize the on-track experience and then go back to the bus in the house and talk about it. But you have an interesting relationship on your side with Kenzie, and you did a little bit of spotting. What experience do you gain working with her versus being the other person wearing the helmet?
It definitely makes you understand and appreciate all sides of it. From, like I said, the typical relationship, on or off the racetrack, and being the driver, however you want to look at it. There's, a lot of people see life through one set of eyes. I've been fortunate to see it through a lot of different ones. And, Kenzie does a great job in her racing and whatnot, and I get to be a big part of that. And everybody would say at the racetrack, she's probably my biggest fan, cheerleader, and my toughest critic. So she wears a lot of hats in our relationship, but it's I tell you what, it adds a different dynamic to our relationship and makes it to where we're that much better together. And actually, she just raced this past weekend in Mobile, Alabama, her super late model, and had a chance to go down there and play crew chief and spotter. Just we constantly stay on the go, so I think it makes just picking up on new situations that much easier and that much more normal, or as normal as it can be, and just rolling with the punches and just having a good time along the way.
Well, how'd we do? How'd she do in Mobile?
Not bad. We drove up the fourth there last restart with about 20 or 30 to go, and we flipped once and burned the left rear tire off of it and fell back to 8th. But I was able to roll in the trailer. Nothing was tore up. Good day.
Good. There you go. All's well that ends well. Now, if something had happened, would you have to help fix the car?
Oh, absolutely. It's been tough this year with the scheduling and whatnot, because in the past it's so hands-on, and she's running for a team that I've ran for in the past 3 or 4 years leading up to this point. So we have a really good relationship with the Carswells and that entire family, but they're based out of Woodstock, Georgia. So usually at least 1 or 2 days before she races, a 12 or 13 race schedule a year, we try to go down there and put motors in, change suspension over, and very heavily involved in the setup stuff and whatnot. All that goes onto it. It's just a family ran deal, and it literally takes every one of us to get her to the racetrack. But there's nothing you can take more pride in than being that hands-on and seeing results. That's what it's all about.
Hey, I want to ask you one quick one before we let you go. Joey mentioned earlier, and we talked with Roger Curtis from Michigan International Speedway, they're dragging tires on the track, the same compound you guys are going to be using. How much of a difference do you think that'll make in terms of giving you guys some more choices in where you put the truck?
I think it definitely can hurt. Obviously with the tires that were drug around Kentucky, I think it showed a lot of promise for that side of technology. And knowing we ran out in the past to Michigan and knowing we'll have that option definitely cannot hurt anything. As far as where you start practice out, Michigan being so big as it is and how much drag is important, we'll still probably, all of us probably shorten the racetrack up as much as we can around the bottom, but whenever the green flag flies and, the way aero works and all that stuff, you're trying to separate yourself from other people. So to have that much more of a wide racetrack to actually be able to use, I think it's going to play in everybody's hands.
All right, folks, keep an eye out for that number 19 Ford F-150 truck on Saturday at Michigan International Speedway. It's we'll have it for you here on the Motor Racing Network, the Careers for Veterans 200 at 12:30 Eastern Time on Saturday afternoon. Daniel, good luck this weekend, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Absolutely, guys. You have a good day, and Joey, you better straighten up, okay?
There's no hope of that. Don't even go there. No hope of that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. How about that? Boy, if he's right there, but as you mentioned, 3 spots left in the chase for the Camping World Truck Series, and 2 guys vying for him right now.
Yeah, we have 3 races left, 2 guys. The guy that's second in points, solidly second in points, can't gain first. There's too many points unless there's a catastrophic something goes wrong with those guys in 3 weeks in a row that are leading the points. So second in points could miss the chase. And that's hard to believe. And that's what we've talked about. We always, the attention gets over on the Cup side of things with 16 drivers and how many 16 winners. But we're seeing exactly that take place in the Truck Series.
All right, we got to take one final timeout here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll look ahead a little bit and put a bow on Motorsports Monday. Stick around.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. 1 per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Hey, this is Joey Logano. You're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane. How does Joey have a co-host? They talk so much.
From my doctors this week, they feel that I am at a point now where I can start to work back to going back to racing. So actually this weekend on Sunday at Hickory, I'm going to go test a late model and start to get back in the seat. So I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to that. Obviously it's been a couple months since I've been in the car. I think first things first, just going to go and do the test on Sunday and see how everything goes. The most curious thing to me is just seeing what my level of stamina is compared to the past, because it's been so long since I've been in a car. I don't know what the exact steps are going to be, but I think the biggest thing is just to get back going and get back reoriented in a race car.
There you go, Matt Tifft with an update at Bristol Motor Speedway over the weekend. He was going to be testing a late model at Hickory yesterday.
Yeah, it's interesting. We always have this argument about whether racing is a sport and these drivers are athletes, and his primary concern is stamina.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any ever question, follow this guy's career and what he's having to do in his rehab to get back in a race car.
After a brain tumor.
They took a piece of his brain out.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic story.
Yeah, absolutely it is. All right, we've got Road America coming up this weekend in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We'll bring that one to you on Saturday at 2:30 Eastern. The Road America 180 fired up by Johnsonville. As we mentioned, the truck race, the Careers for Veterans 200 on Saturday at 12:30 Eastern from Michigan. Then on Sunday, the Pure Michigan 400 at Michigan International International Speedway at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday as well. A lot to keep up with.
Yep, and if you're online trying to buy tickets, you can go to mispeedway.com for this coming week race, mispeedway.com. If you're looking to plan ahead, you can want to go to Richmond, the last race for the chase. Buscher's going to try to get in there. You can do RIR.com to purchase tickets. They're available on your local interweb.
All right, there you go. I'm Woody. He's Joey. We'll see you right back here next Monday on MRN Motorsports Monday. Folks, stick with us after all the racing this weekend.
You've been listening to MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in again next Monday at noon Eastern for all the latest news, results, and interviews from NASCAR on MotorRacingNetwork.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand at the MotorRacingNetwork.com Media Center. Or you can download it from iTunes or Stitcher. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.